Hello and welcome back to another edition of Carrie's Gardening Channel. So today is July the 8th, 2023, and in this video here I'm going to be doing a beginner's guide to harvesting yarrow, and I'm also going to be giving some growing tips for how to grow your yarrow. So I've been harvesting a lot out of this patch here. I have some chrysanthemums and feverfew growing in this patch as well, but you can see my yarrow here. And we're going to go to this lighter colored one over here so I can show you better what to look for when you're harvesting your yarrow. So you can see in these flower clusters here, let me zoom in, these little tiny golden, sort of like an orangish yellow color. That's your pollen right there, and that's just starting to form in these flowers here. So this right here is perfect prime for harvesting. Now I wanted to do this video a little bit differently, but everybody else was doing something. So I'm going to do the best I can here for showing you how to harvest this. And I like my thin pruning shears for this. It's easier to get down in between these stems with a thinner pruning shears than what it is for a more bulkier one. So I have a link for these down in the description. So I'm just going right in between these two branches here, and I'm cutting at a 45-degree angle. There we go. And I have my yarrow here. And what these plants do is they branch off. So this one here is going to give me more blooms off of it. And a lot of your yarrow will rebloom providing that you cut it correctly. This over here, let me go over there. This yarrow over here is a yellow yarrow, and you can see that the leaves are different on it. And there are different species of yarrow, and some of the blooms do look differently. Let me find this one here. I had cut it, here we go. I cut this branch here earlier this month. And you can see here, it is starting to put out new side stems off of the top. So this is going to give me more blooms then, which is exactly what I want, because I want my yarrow blooms to keep coming. So this was cut really hard, and we had a lot of blooms that did come off of this. And we've been cutting and cutting off of this here patch. Now it is harder to tell on the yellow when the pollen is just starting to form, because you have your yellow flower. So you just try and really look on the flowers to make sure that they're just starting to come in with the pollen. And you can see this one here is starting to actually turn color some. So I am going to be taking this one here then. Some of your yarrows will actually fade in color as they go, and some of them will, they'll turn into different colors. So that is something that you do want to watch out for, because we've had some that were really beautiful. I'll show you this one here over here. So I actually have two of them here. The colors are starting to morph and change on them. So you have a beautiful like cream colored, and then it's starting to turn like pink on the sides. And I've seen it go the other way too, where you'll have a beautiful pink and it'll start losing its color and fading out. This one over here is starting to do that. It has a beautiful like pink color to it, and it's starting to kind of fade out some. So I'm going to be checking to, yeah, this one here, whoops. So I'm going to be checking, and this one here is ready to be harvested. So this one here is going to be one that I'm going to be taking off. Now some of these do produce more side shoots than others. So that is something that certain varieties do. This one here is, I'm trying to think of the name of it, Summer Berries Mix. That's what this one here is. This here is a Summer Berries Mix. That over there, the real pretty golden, is a Parker's Yellow Yarrow. And I did do a video for that on my channel. And like I said, you can see the foliage of these two, and the growth habits are completely different. This one here is more of like a sprawling type, And that one over here, the yellow, grows more in like a round shape. And you can see these here are just starting to come. This is a beautiful lighter pink here. Kind of like some white with some really light pink to blush tones in it. And this here is gorgeous. I really like yarrow, and it's one of my favorite plants to grow. The Parker's yarrow variety, the yellow yarrow, that is very pungent. It has a very pungent aroma to the leaves and the plant itself. This here does have a fragrance to the leaves and the plant itself, but it's not quite as pungent as what the Parker's yellow yarrow is. And I've noticed on the varieties that grow in the round shape and they have the leaves like this, they are very aromatic and they do have a very pungent fragrance. So if you don't like things with a very strong fragrance to them, then I would not recommend this one here for you, because this one here is very aromatic and it's very pungent in the fragrance that it has. You see these here starting to branch off here. Now, on growing your yarrow, you do want to select an area with well-drained soil. These here are growing in landscaper's fabric. I do have some that are not growing in landscaper's fabric, and they are doing very well. The variety back there, the ones that have the sprawling habit to them, I would not put them in landscaper's fabric again, because they actually started coming up under the landscaper's fabric. We had to tear the fabric so that the plants could actually come up, which wasn't too bad, but it wasn't, you know, what I wanted for it. I wasn't even thinking about that when I put it in the landscaper's fabric. So that's something that I won't do with that particular variety again. This year, you know, you kind of make the hole a little bit bigger for the plants, but I'm not having any issues with it growing in the landscaper's fabric. I like it because it helps to keep the weeds down. You get a few weeds, but it's not nearly as much as when you're growing it out in the open ground. So you do want to select an area with well-drained soil for growing your yarrow plants in. And if it's too wet, they're not going to like it. They're going to be turning yellow. They're not going to want to grow or bloom right for you, and it's just a mess. So an area with well-drained soil works best for your yarrow. You also want full sun for them. They love full sun, and they do best in full sun. They can tolerate some shade. We do have some that does kind of grow in the shade, and it does okay, but I find that what grows out in the full sun does the best for blooming. And when you deadhead your plants, when you're taking your blooms off, it will encourage them to bloom more. Now, yarrow can easily self-seed itself, and it does, as I said, spread. So some people call it kind of a nuisance. It can get out into your grass, but people do use it on their compost piles. So if it would happen to get out in your grass and you don't treat your lawn with any kind of chemicals and you're mowing your grass, you know, it will go in and it will help benefit your compost pile. Now, for fertilizing, your yarrow plants really don't need too much fertilizing. If you go with too much of a high nitrogen, you'll wind up with all of your foliage and you really won't have many blooms. So it's a pretty carefree plant once it's established. When you're first putting it in, you know, as it's establishing itself, you do want to keep it moist, on the moisture side. You don't want it to dry out to the point that it's wilting, because the roots, you know, they're establishing themselves in. The plant has to establish itself into the ground. I have seen, I'm growing in Pennsylvania in zone 5B, and these plants are, from what I've seen, very hardy over the winter time. So just check your growing zone before, you know, you buy your plants, and make sure that it will be a perennial for your area. It's really good to know what growing zone you're growing your stuff in. Now, these can get thrips on them, and aphids will go after them, and they can get spider mites and white flies. So you do want to kind of watch out for those. Now, the thrips are migrating through this year, and they're really bad we're getting bit when we're outside, and that's not fun. I read an article that said thrips don't bite. That's not true. I've gotten bitten a lot by thrips. And they're these tiny little, there's so many different varieties of thrips out there. Some are like these tiny little yellow thrips, and they will damage your foliage. So if you have damaged foliage, you can take the damaged foliage off. But that is something that you do want to watch out for. They're outside, they're in the grass, they fly. So, and you do want to divide your yarrow out every 3 to 4 years to keep it growing nice. You can take the divisions from it and you can start a new flower bed with them, or a new, flower field, whatever you're doing with them there. And it just helps keep the plant growing nice, keeps the centers from dying out. So, yeah, every 3 to 4 years, you do want to divide your plants out. And this is one that's growing in one of my new yarrow patches. But yarrow is a pretty carefree plant once you get it established. And there's a lot of different varieties of yarrow out there. If you've never grown yarrow before, it is a fun plant to grow. The flowers are beautiful, and I really like how they, have the little clusters on them. So you can either grow them by seed, or you can buy your plants already growing. You can buy plugs of yarrow as well. So you can check out videos on my channel for how to grow yarrow from seed. I have videos on there for some different varieties of yarrow that I grow. So if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the little notification button. I'll tell you as I put a new video on. Also follow me on Twitter. I'll have a link down in the description to my Twitter account. Thank yous for watching, and have a nice day. Bye!